Welcome to episode 4 of the Family Only series. Last we left off, Jensen had become a toddler and was up and about walking and talking. Amelia was pregnant with her second child, and all in all, the colony was enjoying a time of peace while they slowly expanded to make room for their growing family. There are quite a few things that still need to be accomplished in the colony in the short term. The chem fuel refinery needs to be built. They need to build a few more defenses, including traps and a mini turret using plasteel or uranium. They also need to start looking towards upgrading their guns to something with a little more armor pen. The machine pistols have been working nicely, but they're soon going to be pretty worthless against the heavily armored opponents. There's a quest to take care of 3 pigs. They're offering an advanced component, so this is very tempting. The big downside is that the pigs are already basically out of food, and this is going to double their pig population, and make their already high food consumption even higher. That advanced component is worth it though, so let's accept this quest. Welcome to the colony, pigs. Please don't start any trouble with Oink Boink and Doink. If you do, you're out of here. They're going to be here for quite a while, so we're going to need to address that pig food issue. Biofuel refining tech just finished, so that opens up the ability to make the refinery that they've been desperately needing for a while now. They can switch back to slowly whittling away at the microelectronics tech. Ideally, once that's done, they can grow up growth fats and speed up the process of having and raising children. The peaceful times had to come to an end sooner or later. This time it's the flu that has struck. Before anyone could tell him to do otherwise, Jake has decided to use a home remedy treatment and skip the medicine. I think his treatment is ignoring the symptoms and pretending he's not getting sick at all. He told Amelia it's just allergies and to not worry about it. Nice, Jake. Let's go ahead and switch him over to high quality medicine to make up for the bad first tend. He also needs to prioritize bed rest, otherwise he's going to have a bad time. Flu is usually not terribly dangerous, but if it goes unchecked, it can really sneak up on you, and can even kill otherwise healthy colonists. The children are going to need a learning room. Since there's not a ton of extra space at the moment, they're going to have to build their learning area in the bedroom. I think a dedicated learning room will have to be added to their short-term task list, but for now, it will be built next to their bed. A desk and a few chalkboards should do the trick. Jake's second self-10 was at least with medicine, so this time around, it gave him a significantly better 10 quality. I think he's at the point where he finally admitted to himself that he's getting sick. Luckily he can't infect the other colonists or everyone would be sick by now. 119% 10 quality with that Glitter World medicine should make up for his early refusal to accept that he's sick. Even still, let's keep him resting in bed until he's immune. Well, another manhunting pack has arrived. The size of this one is pretty substantial and it's all rats. Let's hope they didn't bring the plague along with them. For now, the colonists are going to hide out like they've done for the past few manhunting packs. If they're lucky, the next raid will choose to attack right before these rats leave. Believe it or not, that is exactly what has happened. A group of Wennell's tribespeople have arrived. I think they're looking to mess stuff up. I don't know that they are cannibals, but I also don't know that they aren't cannibals. I think our colonists have to assume that they are and keep Jensen as far away from them as possible. Hopefully the rats do most of the work, but in a stroke of luck, the Empire has crashed a shuttle just outside the perimeter of the colony and is asking for help. If nothing else, they'll work as a quick distraction to draw the tribals away. Well, the rats did almost nothing at all, unfortunately. That leaves it to Jake and Amelia to protect their home against these maybe cannibals. The distraction is working, and they're being drawn off towards the crashed shuttle. All the raiders are badly wounded at this point, so only a little bit of damage and they should be routed. It only took 3 different distractions and losing half their number, but the tribals are running scared for their lives. The Imperials that had crashed in the shuttle knew raiders were near and on the way, and because of this asked for help from the colony. Jake and Amelia were already in a difficult position when they arrived and could do nothing but watch. The Imperials were no match for the raiders and were left dead on the ground surrounding the shuttle. The colonists need to make sure this news doesn't find its way back to the High Stellarch. That would be bad. Amelia is reaching the end of her second pregnancy. Since Jensen has already outgrown the crib, there's already room for the baby to join the colony. It is probably a good idea to make a bit of baby food, just in case Amelia can no longer breastfeed. Hopefully Jake will be over the flu by the time Amelia is ready to deliver. I can't imagine it would be a great idea to have a doctor with the flu deliver a baby. It looks like Jake is about 3/4 of the way through the flu. He's been doing a lot of bed resting and has been using industrial medicine to deal with the symptoms. At this point, I think the industrial medicine is probably a bit overkill, so let's have Jake go back to just pretending his symptoms don't exist and tending with no medicine. Hopefully Jake can get that last 25% immunity before the baby arrives. And just like that, as if Randy himself is laughing in our face, Amelia's labor has begun. So much for Jake getting over the flu before delivering this baby. I'm sure everything will be perfectly fine. The baby arrived happy and healthy. That's fantastic. Let's see if Randomize can give us a good baby name. Wallace seems good. Jake, Amelia, Jensen, and Wallace. The family's growing by the day. Let's get Wallace some food and then put him safely in his crib. At least Jake is just about over that flu. Keep sleeping it off, bud. The flu is gone, and Jake is back to work. They called it a medical emergency, but I think he had it taken care of the whole time. Maybe he was right to begin with. Maybe he was never really sick at all, but was just dealing with those pesky allergies. Meanwhile, Doink had given birth to piglets as well. Unfortunately, the piglets will not be treated as kindly as Wallace has been. Poor piglets. Amelia, Jake, and Jensen have gathered outside to celebrate the birth of their newest family member. Welcome, Wallace. I hope no one tries to eat you. The party ended beautifully as the lanterns floated gently up into the sky and off into the distance. I'm sure this bodes well for the future of Wallace. Let's take a peek at what our colonists have been chatting about. Jensen and Jake talked about guilty pleasures. How exactly does a 4-year-old know anything about guilty pleasures? I'm not really sure. Truth be told, I don't want to be sure. They're also chatting about eating corn cobs. It is a bit amusing to think that they've been eating only corn and meat for the past several weeks, but it's always been in the form of paste. They've had all this corn, but I don't think Jensen's ever actually tasted natural corn. He's probably asking his father why he can't ever eat any. And then they talked about training cats. I know this family's been pretty clear about their desire to get a cat. Maybe we could make that work in the future. Lastly, Jensen chatted with Amelia about sharks. I wonder how Jensen ever learned about sharks. They're in the middle of the shrubland and the closest ocean is weeks away. I guess they've been telling Jensen terrifying bedtime stories about sharks eating people, and he's curious to learn more about them. Oh, would you look at that. Jensen's throwing a party for his parents. On one hand, it's very sweet that Jensen wants to have fun with his parents. On the other hand, it's a bit sad that Jensen doesn't have any friends his age in the colony. Well, the only way he's ever going to have other kids around is through his brother and future siblings they might have. Hopefully he can have parties with them in the near future as well. For now, everyone gets a nice mood boost for having a party together in the dining room. They've been making slow but steady progress on microelectronics, but I think it's time for them to switch to something that will be a bit more useful in the short term. Let's switch research over to mini turrets. As the raids start getting larger, they're going to need a little bit more strength. The mini turret can be useful as a distraction and a bit of extra damage that they can rebuild relatively easy. The visiting pigs have been here for 7 days now, but still have another 13 days to go until their shuttle arrives. They've been absolutely killing this field of dandelions, which is way too small to keep up with 6 pigs. The colonists have been forced to continue to feed them corn and raiders to keep up with the demand. Perhaps kibble would be a good idea to start producing soon. While this dromedary is stomping around outside the colony, let's try to take advantage of this large amount of elephant leather that the colonists have just got their hands on. I think a new duster would be the best use for it. Let's get Amelia started on that. The refinery is finally finished, and with that, our colonists can start producing enough chem fuel to power the colony indefinitely. Unfortunately, all the excess material that could be used for chem fuel is currently being used to feed the pigs. Let's set up a few new bills on the smelter. Our colonists are going to need to smelt down any biocoated gear they get, so let's set that first. They can also start getting rid of any single-shot weapons. They'll keep bolt actions for now, but let's have them get rid of pump shotguns. The multi-shot weapons are much better, so with a few exceptions, they'll be keeping those around and getting rid of any of these single-shot weapons. The pigs are still scraping the bottom of the barrel for food. There's plenty of meat in the freezer, but as soon as the colonists start moving the meat out, it will start rotting. It'll be fine in the short term, but once they get all filled up, it's going to waste food. So for now, let's have them focus on just feeding the pigs vegetables. Soon they can start crafting kibble and feed them that instead. The refinery builds haven't been fully set up, so let's have them finish that now. They can set a build to craft up to 35 at a time, and to make sure the supply stays at or above 35. For only one chem fuel generator, that will be enough for now. Gun turret tech has just finished now, so the colonists can start crafting mini turrets. This will help quite a bit with the defense of their home. They need to get at least one mini turret built for now, but it needs to be made out of plasteel uranium. Mini turrets are pretty lackluster when made out of steel, so for now, they can skip that in lieu of better materials. It shouldn't be too hard to get the 35 plasteel they need in order to make one plasteel mini turret. With so many mouths to feed at the moment, the two adults in the colony are going to have to start adventuring out and hunting whatever they can bring back to the family. In this case, the family includes 6 pigs, which eat more than the colonists do. Let's have Jake and Amelia hunt a few dromedary together, and bring those back to the freezer. Now, with all this meat, it makes sense to start crafting kibble. They are going to need to make sure a few of their vegetables get set aside to convert into kibble. With these dromedary coming in, there should be plenty of meat for that part of it. Amelia can harvest any of the corn that has grown large enough and can bring it back to the freezer to get some of this kibble made up for the pigs. Kibble should be plenty to keep the pigs fed until their shuttle arrives to pick them up. Let's give Jensen a new chore in the colony. He could be the kibble master and make sure the kibble gets hauled to the pigs. Amelia's going to tear down a few of these walls to expand the hallways. Choke points are great to have inside, but having too many doors can also slow down the colonists' movement speed, enough to the point where it's making them less efficient. Taking out a few of the choke points here and extending the hallway should make things a bit more efficient, while still keeping things nice and safe should any raids make it through the exterior walls. A trader has arrived at the colony, bringing exotic goods from a nearby town. This gives our colonists a good opportunity to get rid of these elephant tusks and exchange them for something a bit more valuable. Let's see what they have to offer. Well, they can't buy a ton with what they're getting from the tusks, but they can at least get a few components in return. That's definitely better than leaving the tusks sitting around, and let's be honest, you can never have too many components. The colony is going to need to continue to grow. The children need bedrooms, and they still need to construct a learning room for everyone. On top of that, there's this thermal geyser near the northeast wall that can be taken advantage of. The adults in the colony still have no idea what they're doing when it comes to growing plants, but hopefully one of the children can be raised to focus on plants. Let's set aside a grow area for trees once somebody has high enough skill to grow them. The next set of walls can be arranged around this area and the geyser. This will also give us the opportunity to deconstruct some of these walls and convert the exterior walls to interior walls. Now that the colonists have started feeding the pigs kibble, the food situation is looking a little less grim. Jensen is doing a good job making sure the kibble arrives in the pen quick enough to feed our 6 pigs. It looks like there's just over 5 days left until the shuttle arrives to pick them up. Really, that shuttle cannot come soon enough. Sorry, Jen, we're not allowed to save you. It's against the rules. If Jen were somehow related to our starting 2 colonists, then it would be okay to save her and try to find her a husband. Unfortunately, in this case, we have to leave her out here. It would also be okay to rescue her, heal her up, and then let her go for goodwill, but it looks like she already has rivaled 3 of our colonists, so let's leave her to her fate. The Empire has called again, asking for another favor. This time they're offering a few different rewards in exchange for dealing with 97 toxic waste packs. Normally the waste packs aren't worth dealing with, but this time it's a very tempting offer. Stun could be massively useful this early on, especially when we have so few pawns to deal with the early raids. Stun could save someone's life and avoid a spiral effect that could destroy the colony. Let's go ahead and accept this quest for the Stun Side Trainer. Jake can already learn this one, so it works out very well. The northern wall expansion has been finished, so let's start working on the next section. Jake can cut the stone, and Amelia can build the wall. They do make a pretty good team. Next up, we'll have to figure out the layout for this section of the base. It's going to need to include a large room to encompass the geothermal, and space for a few bedrooms for the children. These pigs have to be leaving any day now. It's difficult enough to feed 3 pigs, but 6 has been too much for our colonists to comfortably handle. At least the reward should be worth it in the end. Hey, Amelia's throwing another party. These guys really can't get enough partying, and I'm there for it. It looks like the Shiloh Accord is not there for it, and they hate parties. Maybe our family was being a bit too loud and the neighbors got annoyed. Instead of calling the authorities, they grabbed their weapons and attacked. In either case, they ruined the party, and now they're gonna have to pay. Actually, this raid is looking pretty scary. They've got close and long range weapons, and one of them even has a shield pack. If they're allowed to take advantage of that shield pack, things could go very poorly for Amelia and Jake. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Amelia has grabbed the bolt action and is heading out to deal with this thing. Just one hit on the right target and everything's going to be okay. And she nailed it, but took a bullet in the leg in return. Not the greatest outcome, but at least that shield pack is dealt with. Get back to Jake and get that wound tended to before they attack. The raid isn't over and they still have some nasty weapons that could do a lot of damage to our colonists. Okay, one raider down. Jake has dropped his machine pistol and has made a break for the heavy SMG. That should make the rest of this raid quite a bit easier. Stun is already coming in massively useful here. That's 2 raiders down. One more and they should be routed. Amelia did take some punishment, but they've sent the raiders running back to their base, and our colonists survived to fight another day. After all of that, Amelia needs some rest to heal up those gunshot wounds. Jake took a small amount of damage too, but he healed very quickly. In the meantime, Jake can take care of Amelia's duties as well as his while she heals. Amelia's already back on her feet. All of that bed rest has really helped speed up her healing. Thankfully, she made it back to full health before any more raiders arrived. Now that she's back on her feet, Amelia has been hard at work on this other wall expansion. Just as it's almost finished, the time has come for those pig visitors to go home. The shuttle has arrived, and now Jake and Amelia need to load them up. Let's get this over with so we can finally go back to our normal food consumption. Goodbye, pigs. We will not miss you. The advanced component has arrived. In the end, it was definitely worth it to deal with those pigs for so long. This advanced component will be useful to work our way towards fabrication. And look at that perfect timing. Microelectronics research has just finished. Now they're going to have to start working on getting that high-tech research bench built. They are on the verge of being able to research and construct growth vats, which should help out significantly in the progress of this colony. They've started working slowly on getting geothermal power tech. Once that finishes, they won't need to rely very much on chem fuel to keep this place running. Unfortunately, it will take a while to research and even longer to gather the materials needed to build even just one of them. That's okay though, at least they're making some progress. Another group of raiders have come to say hello. It's the Wennels tribe again. Wennels is a group of Neanderthals that live in the mountains nearby. They haven't been very welcoming to our family moving into the area. I think the Wennels must consider this their territory. So far they've only set small raiding parties with clubs and makeshift bows, but if they get angry enough they could turn into massive war bands with the sole intent of burning this place down. Since it's just 3 of them and they're melee, Jake and Amelia will have the advantage here. They're going to go out and meet them. Burden, stun, and their automatic weapons should make short work of these tribals. Neanderthals sure do take a lot of damage before they fall over. But the more damage they take, the slower they become. After the first one fell, the rest charged in anger. Amelia and Jake have become quite proficient in dealing with groups of enemies of this size. Anything larger and they might start having trouble, but groups of 3 or 4 have so far posed no large threat. Well, that's just another day of protecting their family on the Rim. That's the end of episode 4. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for updates on all future videos. For those of you who made it all the way to the end, please consider checking out my Patreon to help support the creation of more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and see you for the next one.